There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Nigeria wants to see trade diversified to non-oil products such as agriculture, power projects, renewable energy, and pharmaceuticals, where a lot could be achieved.
Renewed commitment to deepening ties. Nigeria and Portugal sign MOU on 6 sectors. Lekki Deep Sea Port makes history, receives first cargo vessel.
This costs grow higher, and the situation is further worsened by the fact that new agencies are being created on a daily basis.
Also tonight, checkmating, rising cost of governance. Federal government sets up committee to review agencies created from 2014 to date. Hello and thanks for joining us on the news. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Adiola Komi Akere joins us from the city of Lagos and Sulamat Rigachukun from Kaduna. Here is a reminder that you can start clicking, join this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, as well as other social media platforms displayed on the screen. We begin with the President's visit to Portugal, where Nigeria and the Republic of Portugal have signed 6 memoranda of understanding in various sectors of their economies in furtherance of their renewed commitment towards building a shared future of genuine friendship and prosperity. This is the outcome of President Muhammadu Buhari's high-level engagement with the Portuguese leader Marcelo de Sousa, as well as Prime Minister, as part of his state visit to the European nation. Status correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari and the Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Costa watched with keen interest as representatives of Nigeria and Portugal signed the MOUs between the two countries, 4 of them on political consultations, diplomatic training, research, exchange of information and documentation, women and girls development, as well as culture, was signed by Nigeria's and Portuguese foreign affairs ministers, as well as that of parliamentary affairs.
Are agreements that can actually form the basis and the foundation for coordinating all the agreements that we have. Portugal is a very important member of the European Union and is a leader in many fields, especially areas like renewable energy and pharmaceuticals and also IT. So it's a very important partner. What we have created really is really the framework for the institutionalization of this partnership between the two countries.
The Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in the fields of youth and sports was signed by Nigeria's Minister of Youth and Sports, Sunday Dare, and that of Parliamentary Affairs for Portugal.
The focus on youth will be to make sure there's an exchange program between the youth in Portugal and the youth in Nigeria, but also to leverage on the areas of entrepreneurship, the area of startups, the area of ICT and the digital economy. But also beyond that, to see how we can have youth in leadership and mentoring. When it comes to sports, we'll be partnering in the area of anti-doping. There's zero tolerance for doping in the world now. In the areas of sports medicine, which is a growing area of sports development. In the area of training for our coaches, for our athletes. This morning I was at Benfica. I met with two vice presidents. We had a meeting. Benfica has agreed to come and set up an academy in Nigeria and bring coaches from here to train Nigerian youth in football. And I think that's a major development for us.
Before the agreement signing ceremony, President Buhari led the Nigerian delegation to a follow-up engagement with the Portuguese Prime Minister, Antonio Costa, on ways and means of deepening and expanding areas of collaboration and cooperation between Nigeria and Portugal. In the meantime, a befitting state banquet was held in honor of President Muhammadu Buhari and members of the Nigerian delegation by his Portuguese counterpart, Marcelo de Souza, in appreciation of the long-awaited visit.
Nigeria wants to see trade diversified to non-oil products such as agriculture, power projects, renewable energy, and pharmaceuticals, where a lot could be achieved. We are also aware of the stalled negotiations to establish a direct air link to bring both countries closer. I assure you of our administration's determination to make it happen.
Excellency, it's in this spirit, marked by confidence in the future and marked by the strong ties. Join me in drinking to the health and happiness of the President of Nigeria and the prosperity of the relations between Portugal and the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The four-day state visit to Portugal by President Muhammadu Buhari ends on Friday. From Lisbon, Portugal, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And as a further demonstration of the respect and enormous goodwill President Muhammadu Buhari enjoys in Portugal, as well as the high esteem in which he has been held by the Portuguese, the mayor of Lisbon has formally presented to him the key of honor to the ancient city. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu once again reports.
Established 1,200 years before Christ, Lisbon is one of the oldest cities in the world and the second oldest European capital city after Athens. President Muhammadu Buhari is the first Nigerian leader to formally pay a state visit to the Portuguese capital, and for the mayor of the city, Carlos Moedas, it is an honor well cherished and valued. Indeed, the joy of the mayor knows no bounds as he guided President Muhammadu Buhari and his delegation on tour of the mayoral seat of power, referred to as the City Town Hall. There he performed the symbolic presentation of the key of honor to the city of Lisbon to the Nigerian leader.
Portugal and Nigeria have an important cultural, historical, political, and diplomatic ties. You are a great nation. President Obama once said about you that you strived to overcome division and turn Nigeria diversity into a source of strength. So you were able to build the largest economy in Africa. I so much agree with that. So we want to work with you. We want to work with your innovators. Lisbon's objective is to be the capital of innovation of Europe. But for that, we need you. We need the African continent. We need to work with you peer to peer.
President Buhari was full of appreciation to the mayor for the honor done to him, describing it as a reflection of the cordial relations existing between Nigeria and Portugal.
Nigeria, like Portugal, has many unique historic and cultural assets, as well as a developing hospitality industry, which both countries can exploit to promote tourism. We are ready to extend our bilateral trade beyond oil and gas. We are also keen to establish a direct air link between our two countries to further stimulate tourism, people-to-people contact, and social, sporting, and cultural relations.
The President formally appreciated the City Council for the excellent manner in which Nigerians are being accommodated in Lisbon, including those fleeing the war in Ukraine. And as the presidential state visit to Portugal draws to an end, some members of the Nigerian delegation have been speaking on its gains so far and indeed the low-hanging fruits.
It brings about a win-win situation between Nigeria on one hand and Portugal on the other, and I'm so much impressed when I have met with their officials, including the Prime Minister of the country, to discuss about partnership, collaboration and support in building our digital economy, particularly supporting our talent development, digital startups, and many more.
We supply about 60% of the gas to Portugal, which supplies the energy needs. And there's a demand from Portugal for more of our gas. NNPC was able to showcase what they're doing, which showcase their plans for the two different gas pipelines, the Trans-West Africa one all the way to Morocco, and the Trans-Sahara one to Algeria. And there's a lot of interest in these two projects.
Both Nigeria and Portugal are expected to, in the next 1 week, put together an implementation committee of 6 to draw an action plan towards achieving maximum benefits from the agreement signed by both countries. From Lisbon, Portugal, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Honor well deserved. And back home, the National Council on Privatization has approved the board composition and proposed governance framework for sustainable management and payment of post-privatization liabilities of the power sector transferred to the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company Board. The Council also approved fast-tracking of the work plan for the concession of the Zungeru Hydroelectric Power Plant. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The approval by the National Council on Privatization of the board composition and proposed governance framework is for the sustainable management and payment of post-privatization liabilities of the power sector transferred to the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company Board. The composition of the board includes the Minister of Finance as chairman, while members comprise the Minister of Power, Director General, Bureau of Public Enterprises, Director General, Debt Management Office, Managing Director, Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, and all its executive directors. It was also resolved that 2 key members from the private sector be included in the board. Also at the meeting, the council noted that the key objectives of the Zungeru Hydroelectric Power Plant concession include leveraging private sector access to finance and reduce reliance on government budgetary allocation to fund the China Exim Bank loan, and leveraging efficiencies and better facility management culture of the private sector for the long-term preservation of the asset. The council had, in its December 2020 meeting, approved the concession of the power plant. Similarly, the council was briefed on the performance assessment report of the 9 electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, which has been forwarded to the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission for further review and action. The meeting of the council, its third in 2022, was presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In what may pass as a successful test run for the much-anticipated commercial operations at Lekki Deep Sea Port, a cargo vessel, Zenhua 28, has recorded the first voyage to the port, bearing ship-to-shore cranes and other equipment. Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, while receiving the vessel, said preparations are in top gear to start generating revenue from the port by September this year. Adeni Taiwo reports.
In February this year, this is how the quay wall at the Lekki deep sea port looked, even as construction continued. Although the seaport is still about 90% completed, there is a significant change in the quay wall, which is now completed and ready to welcome the starboard of cargo vessels there on business. Now, with its draft of 16.5 meters and a turning circle of 600 meters, the port provides comfortable anchorage for seagoing cargo vessels such as Zenhua 28, which has about 9.2 meter draft and just 232 meters long. The vessel, a heavy lift carrier ship, arrived Lekki after 30 days at sea from our originating port in Shanghai, China. Apart from the excitement that our arrival as the first ever seagoing vessel to visit Lekki deep sea port caused among stakeholders, her cargo, consisting 3 modern ship-to-shore cranes and other equipment, are said to be critical to commencement of port operations. Her arrival provides a glimpse of the volume of business that the port can play host to, and the impact of that on the economy is left to the imagination of Nigerians, particularly players in the maritime sector.
It's going to be going to be operated digitally, and that will transform to efficiency. So if Ababa can do 5 containers in an hour, this will do 45 containers in an hour. Managing Director of Nigerian Port Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, who described full automation of processes as key to port efficiency, said Nigeria, becoming a shipping hub in West Africa through the deep sea port, will start earning revenue from the project before the year ends.
And cargo dwell time also will reduce by much more than that, because this port has the capacity to handle more cargo, evacuate more cargo, and cargo clearing will be faster also because of the automation here.
As a viable alternative to existing ports in Lagos, the Lekki Deep Sea Port has the capacity to create over 200,000 jobs and generate about $350 billion in revenue annually. In Lagos, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
In other news, ECOWAS ministers of finance, diplomats and experts have identified priority sectors such as value addition on agricultural products, as well as maintaining economic growth as some necessary requisite to recover from current global economic challenges. Foreign Desk correspondent Usman Ali reports that the ECOWAS Ministers' Council in Accra specially recognized President Muhammadu Buhari for his role in championing the fight against COVID-19.
COVID-19 is not yet over. But unlike the year 2020, it is now less worrisome as the vaccination campaign brought hope once again.
In a very special way, I'd like to duly acknowledge and express our appreciation to His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the champion for the coordination of the fight against COVID-19, for which he has taken salutary initiatives and made available the necessary resources and logistics at the service of the community.
With the effect of the pandemic, climate change and the Russia-Ukraine war, the ECOWAS ministers say effort must be intensified on trade, free movement of people and goods, adoption of digital economy, as well as reinforcement of the human capital base.
We must cooperate in terms of trade liberalization. We must be able to cooperate to get the full benefits of the African Continental Free Trade area. We must also be able to cooperate together to make sure that payment systems within our region are seamlessly aligned.
There is going to be a discussion on the Lagos-Abidjan corridor. It is the biggest trade corridor in West Africa and one of the biggest trade corridors in even the whole of the continent. So as we know, there are so many thorny issues along that corridor. We have seen how, for instance, the Republic of Benin imposed tax of 9 million CFA per truck that are passing through their countries, taking goods from Nigeria to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal and other countries in the region.
In the end, leaders of the West African community are expected to adopt reports on far-reaching resolutions on various committees and experts. In Accra, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
President Buhari assures Nigerians that the perpetrators of Shiroro attack would have no hiding place. These and more after these messages to stay with us.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has commenced a nationwide operation to verify COVID-19 vaccination records and validate vaccination cards. This exercise will allow vaccinated individuals correct damaged QR codes and confirm personal information like name and date of birth. It will also enable the federal government to validate COVID-19 vaccination cards to identify those that have been acquired fraudulently. To verify your COVID-19 vaccination records, visit www.vaccination.gov.ng/verification-guide and follow the instructions. If newly vaccinated, wait for 24 hours before verifying your records. For intending international travelers, verify your records at least 1 week before your travel date to avoid delays at departure point. If you cannot access the website, call 0700-220-1122. This message is from NPH-CDA.
Wash your hands, love each other, we go, we know.
The power. The performance. Concentrated power. Concentrated performance. The partnership of concentrated power. So Clean, the official regional partner of Paris Saint-Germain.
The Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, and the Honorable Minister of State for Works and Housing, Moazu Jaji Sambo, cordially invite Chairman and members of the National Assembly Committee on Works, Federal Executive Council members, state governors, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders to the commissioning and handing over of Unguru Gashua Bayamare Road, Section 2, Phase 1, Gashua Bayamare Road in Yobe State. The commissioning of the highway project will be performed by His Excellency Muhammad Buhari GCFR, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Host, Executive Governor of Yobe State, Mema Labuni. Date, Saturday, 2nd of July, 2022. Venue, Gashua Town, Yobe State. Time, 11 a.m. All invited guests are expected to be seated by 10 a.m. Please note that COVID-19 protocols must be adhered to by all invited guests. Announcer Bashir Nura Al-Ghali, Permanent Secretary.
Wake up the champion in your child. Give them energy to go further. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child.
Everyone always says I look young and ageless, and I just smile because deep down, I know who to thank. Since day one, you've made things so easy. Being with you is refreshing. You give me peace of mind and satisfaction much more than words can express. I know people wonder about the person in my life, and I'm so happy that now I can show you all. My dearest paddy of life.
Are you an entrepreneur? Are you involved in farming, manufacturing, servicing, and other specialized value chain creation in non-oil export commodities? The Organization of Youths in International Trade and Commerce, OYITC, in partnership with NTA, Television Enterprises Limited, is organizing a Made in Nigeria trade show and exhibition in Texas, United States, tagged Houston 22. Houston 22 is designed to promote creativity and productivity of Nigerian youths and women entrepreneurs, enhance economic empowerment, and attract foreign direct investment into Nigeria. It is scheduled to hold from 25th to 30th of July 2022 at the prestigious Expo Event Center, Houston, Texas by 9 a.m. daily. For registration, advert placement, and sponsorship, please contact Nafisat on 0803-331-0992 and Chingwe on 0905-596-1514. For further details, visit www.oyitc.com or www.ntatve.com.ng.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. To financial matters, the Central Bank of Nigeria says farmers under the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund can take advantage of the increased 50% one-year interest drawback rebates. This is by paying their loans as at when due. Musa Abubakar reports that the board chairman of the scheme, Stephen Okun, said this at the National Awards ceremony for the Best Farmer of the Year in Abuja.
It's not news that the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund of the CBN is bridging the gap of poor financing to the agricultural sector. The CBN scheme has continued to encourage banks to provide facilities for agricultural value chain activities. This is with a guarantee payment of 75% of any loan granted under it, helping to de-risk the sector.
It has been given back since 1977 to support farmers and support through the banks with a guarantee.
Mr. Okonkwo, Chidubem, Al-Mustafa Megwandu, and Kristen Chukwu are the winners of the first, second, and third position for the Best Farmers Award 2021 of the scheme for their credit worthiness, while Sterling Bank was recognized for the best participating financial institution.
We started with ACGS fund way back in 2018 because we needed it at that time to stabilize our growth. Then it impacted in our operation so much. For this scheme, the rate of repayment is very high. The rate is about 85 to 95% repayment.
A total of 1.23 million loans valued at 130.9 billion naira were granted from inception to May 2022. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And the Development Bank of Nigeria is working towards galvanizing key stakeholders in the micro, small and medium-scale enterprises ecosystem to take advantage of its platform to upscale their businesses. Managing Director of the bank, Tony Okpanachi, stated this during a one-day DBN MSME Summit held in Kaduna in Kano. Abdullah Mustafa reports.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the micro, small and medium-scale enterprises contributed at least 48% to the Nigeria's gross domestic product in the last 5 years. Also, the MSMEs account for more than 50% of the nation's industrial job and at least 90% of manufacturing. The MSME ecosystem experts believe could have performed better if its key challenge of access to finance is addressed.
While one of the institutions, MSMEs, needs capital for sustainable growth and development, the other, DBN, has been tailored to provide such capital and funding stroke financing.
Tajuddin Aminu Dantata, a renowned industrialist, chaired a one-day MSE summit organized by the Development Bank of Nigeria in response to the plight of MSMEs in Kano and other states in the northwest geopolitical zone.
We are in Kano, the commercial capital of northern Nigeria, and we'll be discussing the theme, the role of development banks in inclusive financing, which speaks directly to DBN's commitment as a financial institution towards providing a conducive environment for MSMEs to thrive.
In a panel of discussion, these entrepreneurs took participants through their journey to success.
After my stint with DBN in 2019, I decided to go full blown. I understood that learning is a continuous process. I can't just live with what I've been taught by DBN and give it back to the society.
They also made recommendations on how to effectively tackle the key problems in accessing finance and developing business ideas. Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje was represented by the Kano State Head of Civil Service, Usman Bala, who described the summit as apt. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
A bit on security now. The Nigerian army has confirmed the killing of some of its personnel in an ambush while responding to distress call about bandits' attacks in Shiroro area of Niger State. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Unwachuku says General Officer commanding 1 division has moved to the location to take charge and reinforce. While some of the criminals have been neutralized, the Nigerian army encourages civilians to exercise restraint in posting images of such occurrence, as this places emotional burden on bereaved families. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has described Thursday's attack in Shiroro local government area of Niger State as a direct assault on Nigeria, which will not be allowed to go unpunished. President Buhari paid tribute to the gallant men of the security forces who lost their lives in the process of defending the attack. The president said the gallant men constitute the best that Nigeria has to offer, and they will be remembered, while urging citizens to pray for the families and loved ones of those who sacrificed their lives in the fight against evil. The president assured of safe and speedy return of those abducted, and terrorists will have no hiding place. Still on security, the Office of the National Security Advisor has launched a monitoring and evaluation mechanism for the counter-violent extremism program of the federal government. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Violent extremism has for some time undermined fundamental human rights and national values, destroying lives and property. That is why the government developed a program to eliminate and stop the spread of violent extremism in the country.
The National Action Plan is overdue for review.
This forum in Abuja brings together people crucial to the implementation of the program. The goal is to launch a monitoring and evaluation mechanism.
Following the launch of the framework and national action plan signed by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2017, the activity of PCVE were to be tied to monitoring and evaluation strategy to enable tracking as well as measuring the achievements of implementation of PCV activities in Nigeria. Unfortunately, this strategy was missing in the policy framework.
There are things that push the youth into violent extremism, and so this strategy highlights ways of engaging the youth, engaging communities, engaging different religions by different actors, so that we stop the spread of violent extremism in this country.
Using the mechanism, stakeholders in the implementation of the project appraise successes recorded and the way forward. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Man's obligation to Allah and fellow men is to be thankful at all times for countless bounties. Imam Musa Abdulkadir Abbas of the Mogadishu Cantonment reminded worshippers of this in his special Jumat sermon as part of activities lined up to celebrate the 159th Nigerian Army Day. Abdullah Ajia reports.
With 159 years of reflection on the defense of the country, the Imam told the congregation that national unity through religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence is imperative for survival. He drew references from the exemplary teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in uniting the Ummah in Medina, irrespective of beliefs.
There is no way as a nation for us to reach the greatest heights we all wish for without tolerating one another.
Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, encourages citizens.
It's time to appreciate our troops, including also those who have paid the supreme price in their effort or in our effort to see a secure, united and prosperous Nigeria. Nigeria Army is not deterred by any reverse, by any challenges from all those criminals. And as we speak, we are on their trail.
The message emphasizes unity against evil through working the talk of virtues of good neighborliness and love for Allah's creatures. The congregation beseech Allah for victory in all endeavors of the righteous. Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
Now let's shift attention to humanity and learning. The leader of the House of Representatives, Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa, has trained and equipped 200 teachers and lab technicians in his Student Wada Doguwa Federal Constituency. The initiative, the House leader says, is aimed at upgrading teaching and learning processes in line with current realities. Johanna Suhassan reports.
To be an engineer. I wanted to be a doctor.
Harira Samaila and Yunusa Sani are among the children dreaming to become professionals. They are pupils of Marmara Primary School, one among the many schools built by the member representing Tudun Wada Dogwa Federal Constituency, Al-Hassan Ado Dogwa. Although a block of classrooms were built and furnished, in many words, modern teaching equipment and quality teachers are key to attaining standards. This prompted the member to initiate a program for teachers across his constituency. 200 teachers and lab technicians across 16 schools, among them Zainab Mohammed, a physics teacher in Government Secondary School Rirwe, were selected to pilot the program.
Development to our children because the facilities are modern.
This kind of equipment which are going to boost science teaching education.
The 5-day-long program is in collaboration with National Agency for Science, Engineering and Infrastructure.
We started with a specific sector, a special sector, the science, mathematics and basic technology sector. We have sampled teachers from those specific sectors to train them, and we'll continue to retrain them. The intention is that we want to also have our schools in the rural areas, whether secondary or primary schools, we want to have them to the standard of the schools in Wuse in Abuja, to the standards you have in Victoria Island in Lagos.
Very successful training, and we hope and we encourage them to put the equipment into use for the benefit of the younger generation of this constituency.
Materials, certainly, we are proud of, because if you look at them, they are all things that are required in our schools.
With this kind of training and provision of standard equipment, observers believe the dream of Harira and Yunusa of becoming professionals will no doubt come to fruition. In Kanu, Johanna Hassan, NTA News.
Let's take you to Kogi State, where the state governor says he is promising the people of the state that his administration will ensure completion of all ongoing projects and will leave behind a legacy for rapid socio-economic development. He stated this while inspecting some projects executed by his administration in Lokoja, the state capital. Correspondent Solomon Aiden reports.
The governor's first stop was the flood prevention embankment project along the bank of River Niger, Bata area of the metropolis. The 1.5-kilometer construction project is 95% complete, with a promise by the governor to facilitate the quick relocation of occupants of the site in order to speed the project. Governor Yahaya Bello also inspected the newly constructed President Muhammadu Buhari Event Center. There was also a stopover at the completed GYB Ultra-Modern Model Science Secondary School at Dankolo. The governor and his team also inspected the ongoing work at the Ganaja flyover, where he expressed confidence that the usual gridlock at the area will soon be over. At the specialist hospital Lokoja, Governor Yahaya Bello commended the contractor handling the remodeling of the hospital for a job well done.
I'm taken aback. All the jobs so far executed are excellent, ready for commissioning.
The projects are expected to be inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari soon. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
And it's time to head to Lagos, where Adeola is standing by with some reports. Hello, Adeola.
Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to Lagos. We'll begin with the education sector. Lagos State Government is committed to transforming learning environment in schools from analog to technology-driven modular learning spaces to provide information technology among the young population of residents across the metropolis. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu disclosed this after unveiling improvised interactive modular classrooms created using a standard reusable freight compartment known as container in Lagos. Musa Toliat has the report.
The unveiling of the digital classrooms is born out of the long-standing initiative of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to improve access to basic education and digital learning in schools. Each of the classroom compartments is adequately insulated to give comfort and create a conducive ambience for hybrid learning for children in public secondary school.
This containerized modular building is made up of 9 regular classrooms, 3 laboratories, and 4 staff rooms. All of these spaces are powered by solar panel, and all the students have been given an electronic tablet to aid their learning, both in school and also virtual learning. This is a welcome milestone towards ensuring that no child is left behind in Lagos State.
The new structure is bound to increase enrollment of students in this catchment area, help them develop their potential. It is in line with education and technology, and we are very proud of it.
There are also recreational facilities, including a 5-a-side football pitch and a multi-purpose built court, which can be used for a variety of ball games, such as volleyball, tennis, badminton, and basketball. Governor Sanwo-Olu urged administrators, teachers, and pupils of the Model College to take full ownership of the facilities provided and ensure the infrastructure is maintained. While the students bask in the euphoria of a new and conducive atmosphere for digital learning,
congratulations.
13 outstanding teachers drawn from the 6 educational districts in the state were rewarded with sports utility vehicles for their passion and deployment of modern teaching techniques in their respective schools. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Abortion, an act perceived as both inhumane and criminal, yet legalized by the Lagos State government, has sparked off reactions from a cross-section of Nigerians. Among them is a group under the aegis of Civil Society of Nigeria. Diana Ajale reports that the group organized a rally where they condemned the act in Lagos.
Women and girls are daily faced with various challenges ranging from sexual molestation, rape, unemployment, among others. To change this narrative, a group of civil society of Nigeria here are saying it is time for a better world. These call for a peaceful rally to appeal to relevant authorities to collaborate and ensure the protection of women and girls in the society. The peaceful rally, which commenced from Obafemi Awolowo Way, Ikeja, was taken down to the Lagos State House of Assembly and Lagos State Ministry of Education in Alausa, reacting to the recent release of an official document on safe termination of pregnancy. According to the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Dr. Olusegun Ogboye, the aim is to provide adequate evidence-based data for health workers in both public and private sectors, as well as reduce preventable deaths. Even with such explanations, the Civil Society of Nigeria says the disadvantages outweigh the advantages.
You're going to get them to begin sexual activities very early on in life. And then what do you expect? Sexually transmitted infections, you expect abortions, you expect psychological harm to these children.
The age that we are bringing up children now is different from the age that we grew up. So the thing is that we have to make the parents know how to teach their children sex education. And it's not just the girls and the boys.
Soni Ekwonwusi, a legal practitioner, speaks on the stance of the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on abortion.
The law of the Federation, the Nigeria abortion is illegal by virtue of the provisions of the Criminal Code. And also in the Criminal Code of Lagos State, abortion is also illegal.
The Lagos State Commission of Education, Folashade Adefisayo, who spoke off camera, promised that the rights of children will always be protected. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
We're done from Lagos for today. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The network news will continue after this break with Elizabeth in Abuja. To stay with us.
Music is fuel that fires up our souls. Today, African music has a dominant place on the world map. This massive music movement creating waves across the globe.
I have seen the evolution and the growth of this industry.
But every movement starts with a story. And the best place to start any story is at the very beginning.
There's a primordial energy that can only have come from Africa.
Motlalo, Nigeria are the 9th champions in this competition.
The 12th edition of the Africa Women's Cup of Nations is here with 12 teams including reigning champions and 9-time winners Super Falcons of Nigeria, all in contention from July 2 to 23 in Rabat, Morocco. You can catch all the actions live on the NTA Network Service and NTA Sports 24, channel 270 on StarTimes, 434 on StarSat and 731 on Free TV. Come, join us to promote another championship run by the Super Falcons. For your advert placement, please call Hawa on 0803 312 1022. Africa Women's Cup of Nations, Rabat 2022. Game on!
You're still watching the network news on NTA. The federal government has constituted an 8-member committee to produce a white paper on review of new parastatals, agencies and commissions created from 2014 to date. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says this has become necessary to address the increasing cost of governance in the country. Mitari Ikme tells us more.
Is to build a nation where peace and justice reign.
The biting economic realities and cost of governance compelled the federal government to review the Steve Orosaye Committee's report, which in 2012 had recommended the abolition and merger of some parastatals and agencies of government to curb duplication of roles and enhance efficiency in the civil service. A second committee also reviewed the creation of new agencies from 2014 to date. This white paper committee of eminent bureaucrats headed by former head of the civil service of the Federation, Ebele Okeke, is expected to consider all recommendations and advise government on implementation.
The inability to implement the report of the committee on restructuring and rationalization of federal government parastatals, agencies and commissions is costing government highly. These costs grow higher, and the situation is further worsened by the fact that new agencies are being created on a daily basis. I would ask that probably we have this report turned in as quickly as possible within a period of 6 weeks.
We promise you that we are going to do a very good job by the grace of God, and we will definitely submit before the 6 weeks.
The report of the White Paper Committee will guide government on whether to abolish or merge new and existing government agencies with overlapping or duplicate functions. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
And for more reports on the network news, let's join Sulaiman in Kaduna. Nice to see you, Sulaiman.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Kaduna. Rehabilitation and upgrade of more than 223-kilometer routes embarked upon by the federal government in some parts of the northwest zone of the country are going on steadily and making journey among motorists more comfortable and safer. To ensure compliance with contractual agreement, the Director, Highways Construction and Rehabilitation, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, undertake fact-finding visit to affected routes. Haruna Mohammed has the details.
Realizing the importance of road as critical component for economic growth, the Buhari administration awarded contracts for the rehabilitation and upgrade of major roads considered important in linking northwest to other parts of the country, especially the south. Roads undergoing this massive turnaround are Kano, Kaduna, Abuja dual carriageway, Zaria Funtua, and Kaduna Pembegwa Jos single carriageway, or for Saminaka to Bauchi border.
That's what we have been yearning for a long time. We are hoping it's going to help us economically and otherwise.
By the time they build that road, people will be very happy to follow that road.
Inspecting the project, Director, Highways, Construction and Rehabilitation, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Benjamin Essien, reaffirmed federal government's resolve in the provision of critical infrastructure for enhanced nation's economy.
They should not stop work. They should continue work. Whatever is the problem will be solved, and they should just keep up the pace of the work. We want them to finish. We are going to put in everything that we can to make them to finish.
Contractors handling various projects are optimistic of completing them on schedule without compromising quality. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Kaduna State Government has migrated schools from conventional to digital learning environment as part of ongoing reform in the education sector to make it more responsive to global competitiveness. Amina Said reports that the initiative is a product of a trial during COVID-19 pandemic.
Education sector in Kaduna State has suffered serious setbacks on account of coronavirus pandemic, which forced the closure of both public and private schools. As a result of this, about 1.2 million children were affected due to the halt in their academic pursuits. But state government was quick at adopting proactive measures to enable students of post-primary schools to continue with their lessons. This provided a platform for stakeholders to push for the adoption of Nigeria Learning Passport program as an alternative for teaching in schools.
It makes us not to be idle at home. It's a good one and it's like encouraging.
The initiative will capture about 12 million children between now and the year 2025.
And it should focus on giving us a platform that will make accessibility within the reach of everyone, including those in urban and rural areas.
So Nigerian Learning Passport is one of those opportunities that the COVID-19 pandemic has brought before us.
Kaduna State is the first to migrate from analog schools environment to the digital world. Amina Saidu, NTA News.
More reports ahead with Elizabeth in Abuja after the break.
Motlalo, Nigeria are the 9th champions in this competition.
The 12th edition of the Africa Women's Cup of Nations is here with 12 teams including reigning champions and 9-time winners, Super Falcons of Nigeria, all in contention from July 2 to 23 in Rabat, Morocco. You can catch all the actions live on the NTA Network Service and NTA Sports 24, channel 270 on StarTimes, 434 on StarSat and 731 on Free TV. Come, join us to promote another championship run by the Super Falcons. For your advert placement, please call Hawa on 0803 312 1022. Africa Women's Cup of Nations, Rabat 2022. Game on.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
You're still watching the network news. The federal government is sustaining interventions and power projects in the northeast with the construction of double circuit transmission lines and substations in Yobe State to stimulate economic growth as peace returns to the state. Minister of Power Abubakar Aliu says similar projects are also ongoing in other parts of the country. Joshua Ujito reports.
Critical to the federal government rebuilding plan for the Northeast is availability of electricity supply for economic growth. And this, the Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliu, conveyed the cheering news of federal government interventions to the people of Yobe State. The ongoing construction of double-circuit Damaturu-Gashua-Unguru 132 kV line with 2 substations, the minister says, will boost electricity supply in the state. Also to come on stream is the Gaidam substation, while the capacity of Damaturu substation is to be increased.
Last week, the Federal Executive Council has approved for us to also increase the power transmission at the substation here in Damaturu, the 330 substation, with 1 additional Mobitra power transformer. So the total project we are executing now is around 32 billion naira in Yobe State.
Today, from Bunigari to Gulani, they are enjoying electricity. And we are expecting Gashua, Dumbuli will soon join.
While in Damaturu, the Power Minister, on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari, hands over 360,000 metric tons of assorted food items to the Yobe State government to be distributed to vulnerable population in the state. It is part of federal government humanitarian support for victims of insurgency. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Away from electrification, addressing high rates of unintended pregnancies and early marriages in Nigeria is getting louder as the National Population Commission and National Council for Women Societies synergize on women mobilization for implementation of policies to stop the social vices. Oluseye Adiagbo reports.
In the 2022 UNFPA's State of the World Population Swap reports, Nigeria records 2.5 million unintended pregnancy cases annually. Worried over these data, actors in populations management and the National Population Commission wants to use the networking of National Council for Women Societies to breakthroughs in child spacing in Nigeria and other mandates of Population Commission.
As mothers, as wives, as sisters, they play a great role in population management.
So I'm telling our women, our sisters, that these people are not coming to harm you. We are part of them. We are going to work together with them. Come out and give us the correct data. And you will see a better Nigeria tomorrow.
This meeting also deliberated on ongoing trial census and forthcoming population and housing census scheduled for April 2023 and how mobilization of women across the country is key to achieve the desired results. In Abuja, Oluseye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Next is Sports Update.
Global women football attention turns to African continent, where the 12th edition of African Women's Cup of Nations kicks off on Saturday in Rabat, Morocco, with 12 teams including perennial winners and reigning champions Super Falcons of Nigeria in contention. Hosts Morocco and Burkina Faso will file out in the opener at the Prince Monday Abdallah Stadium before Senegal and Uganda complete the first fixtures of Group A, alongside Cameroon versus Zambia and Tunisia versus Togo in Group B on Sunday. On Monday, Nigeria face South Africa while Burundi meet Botswana in Group C.
Preparation has been good, and I'm sure the team will go out there and try to make us happy, do us proud.
Meanwhile, Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, has confirmed semi-automated state-of-the-art technology will be used at the World Cup in Qatar to speed up the time taken to reach offside decisions. The system was trialed at the last year's Arab Cup and Club World Cup, where it was estimated to have reduced the time taken to make offside VAR decisions from 70 to 25 seconds. In tennis, six-time champion Novak Djokovic has reached the fourth round of the Wimbledon Open after successfully outplaying his fellow Serb, Miomir Kecmanovic, 6-love, 6-3, 6-4. Djokovic will face Dutch wildcard Tim van Rijthoven next. Van Rijthoven has already proved his prowess on grass by winning the Bosch title last month, defeating world number 1 Dani Medvedev in the final. With sports updates, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
That ends the news. Do remember to join the campaign against rape and rapists. Be a brother's keeper and remain patriotic. I'm Elizabeth Omori.
Drive in the rain? It depends on the velocity of the rain.